Robb Stark is dead. Stannis Baratheon's fleet is charred timber in the Black Water. Tommen sits quietly on the Iron Throne. By the end of Season 4, Tywin Lannister has achieved absolute control over the Seven Kingdoms. For decades, he managed the realm with the precision of a master bookkeeper, engineering the Red Wedding and balancing the crown's ledgers. But he carried a singular, unquantifiable liability, a hatred for his youngest son that defied his own pragmatic rules. In our timeline, that hatred ends his life in the Tower of the Hand. But imagine Tywin chooses a different truth. He tells Tyrion he would never have actually allowed the execution. The crossbow lowers, Tywin lives. This one moment erases Cersei's future. Without the vacuum left by her father's death, she never ascends to the role of Queen Regent. The capital avoids a series of self-inflicted wounds. The faith militant remains a scattered group of beggars rather than an armed uprising, and the Sept of Baelor stands tall, housing the nobility rather than being incinerated by them. Tywin treated power as a series of mathematical proofs. He maintained the Tyrell alliance because the crown needed their grain, and he kept the peace because war was an expensive distraction. Because Tywin remains the stabilizing force in the Red Keep, Kevin Lannister continues to serve as the crown's administrative backbone, preventing the administrative decay that Varys later exploited to destabilize the realm. King's Landing enters a period of cold, rigid stability. It is a peace built on total suppression, a dangerous pressure cooker that Tywin believes he can manage indefinitely. The map of Westeros shows a kingdom locked into place. The Lannister-Tyrell alliance creates an unbroken supply chain stretching through the Reach. Tywin's influence also extends north. Roose Bolton maintains his hold, keeping rebellious houses quiet under the threat of Lannister reinforcements. He stabilizes the crown's finances by negotiating directly with the Iron Bank, ensuring the kingdom remains solvent while under his supervision. But inside the Red Keep, the familial rot continues. Tyrion remains a brilliant advisor, yet Tywin's pride keeps his most effective heir marginalized and bitter. Tywin secures the borders and banks, creating the appearance of a permanent dynasty. Yet his refusal to reconcile leaves the Lannister core incredibly brittle. This brittle peace is soon tested by reports of a growing army across the Narrow Sea. Tywin watches the numbers, thousands of Unsullied and Dothraki, plus 3 dragons. Seeing the true threat, he looks to the coast. He offers Dorne new concessions, hoping to turn the southern shores into a wall against a naval landing. He drafts marriage contracts for Tommen and Myrcella, trading the royal bloodline for the spears and ships he knows he will need for the coming defense. He calculates the military response with cold efficiency. But Tywin treats the coming invasion purely as a war of numbers, ignoring that Daenerys isn't just bringing fire, she brings an alternative to his rule. Tywin's entire system relies on the fear of the lion, but fear only works as long as there isn't a more powerful alternative. Daenerys offers the small folk and minor houses something Tywin never could: liberation. She doesn't just attack his armies, she attacks the reason for their existence. When the Reach and Dorne see a path out from under Lannister control, the perfect alliance dissolves. The grain shipments stop. The soldiers needed to balance Tywin's equations simply desert. In the north, the Bolton occupation, backed by Tywin's authority, eventually snaps. The memory of the Red Wedding acts as a permanent fuel for a rebellion that no Lannister army can quench. The Lannister lion cracks under the weight of its own rigidity. In the north, Jon Snow rises, commanding a loyalty based on honor, a force that cannot be quantified in Tywin's ledgers. These two forces, hope from the east and honor from the north, systematically dismantle Tywin's prepared defenses. Soldiers who were expected to fight out of fear find they would rather die for a cause they believe in. Tywin's obsession with a lasting legacy becomes his undoing. By building a world where no one was loved, he ensured no one would stand by him when the math finally failed. An empire built on the fear of collapse is always hollow. In the end, Tywin Lannister's pride was more destructive than any dragon, proving that in Westeros, a cold heart is a fatal strategy.